Okay, you know that feeling, right? That light bulb moment, that brilliant idea for an app that you just know could be something special. Well, today we're going to break down exactly how you turn that spark into a real, actual plan that can win. So you've got the amazing idea. That's the easy part, kind of. But what's the very next thing you should do? Do you start learning to code? Do you look for a co-founder? Honestly, this is the question that stops so many incredible ideas right in their tracks. Well, here's the secret. It's not about jumping straight into the code. Nope. It's about creating a solid plan first. And the perfect way to frame that plan is with something like a hackathon proposal. Think of it as the ultimate bridge between that thought in your head and a real, buildable product. So, what is a hackathon proposal, really? It's a doc that lays it all out. What you're building, why anyone should care, and, most importantly, how you're going to pull it off. And to write a great one, you basically need two things: a blueprint for what you're building and a recipe for how you'll build it. So let's start with that first piece of the puzzle, the blueprint. This is all about what we call system architecture. System architecture sounds complicated, but it's really just the high-level structure of your software. The best way to think about it? It's like a city plan for your app. Your servers are the buildings, the networks are the roads connecting them, and things like databases are the pipes that make data flow. It's the master plan showing how everything fits and works together. Now, when you're drawing up your city plan, one of the first big decisions you have to make is this. Are you going to build one giant all-in-one skyscraper? That's a monolith. Or are you going to build a neighborhood of smaller, specialized buildings? That's microservices. With a monolith, everything is in one code base. With microservices, your app is broken up into tiny, independent pieces. So which one do you choose? Well, for a hackathon or any brand new project, a monolithic approach is almost always the way to go. Why? Because it's just so much simpler to get started and to test. Sure, it might be harder to scale way down the road, but right now, your goal is speed. You build a skyscraper first. You don't try to build the entire city on day one. A lot of huge companies you know started with a monolith and only switched to microservices years later when they absolutely had to. Okay, so we've got our blueprint. Now let's talk about the recipe, how we actually build this thing. We're talking about the software development lifecycle, or SDLC for short. The SDLC is basically a structured process, a step-by-step guide for creating software. I mean, think about it. You wouldn't build a house by just randomly laying some bricks, right? You need a plan. You do the foundation, then the walls, then the roof. The SDLC is that exact same kind of guide, but for software. So what are the steps in this recipe? Well, you start with planning and figuring out the requirements. Then you design your blueprint. Then you implement it. That's the actual coding part. After that, you test it for bugs. You deploy it for people to use. And finally, you maintain it over time. It's the whole journey from that first spark of an idea to a living, breathing product. But, this isn't some super rigid, one-size-fits-all recipe. Teams can follow it step by step in what's called a waterfall model, or, and this is way more common today, they can work in these quick, iterative cycles called sprints using an agile model. The point is, the recipe can be adapted to fit whatever you're cooking up. All right, we've covered the blueprint, that's our architecture, and we've covered the recipe, the SDLC. So now for the payoff. How do we actually put these two big ideas together to craft that winning plan? This, right here, is where it all clicks. This is the aha moment, because this is where all that high-level theory becomes your secret weapon in a pitch. It shows that you've gone from just having a cool idea to having a thought-out, totally executable plan. So that big idea of system architecture, your blueprint for the city, it translates directly into the most critical part of your technical proposal, your tech stack. See, instead of a vague idea, you're making concrete choices. You can now walk in and say with total confidence, our architecture is a monolith because it's fast to build, we're using React for our front end, and Python for our back end. This shows the judges you've made deliberate choices. You know exactly what tools you need for the job. And in that exact same way, your SDLC recipe becomes the proof that you can actually build it. It becomes your project workflow and your diagrams. When you show a user flow diagram, you're not just saying we're going to build a food rescue app. You're showing exactly how a user will navigate it, screen by screen. It's the difference between a dream and a real actionable plan. It's huge. Now, let's just zoom out for a second here, because this isn't just about winning some weekend competition. This whole framework, the blueprint, and the recipe, it's not just a hackathon trick. It's how pretty much all the professional software you use every single day is built. From the smallest startup app to the biggest enterprise systems, these core principles are the foundation of all great software. And there's this fantastic quote that just sums it all up perfectly. There's no perfect architecture. The best architecture is the simplest one that meets your current needs while leaving room to grow. And this is so, so important. The goal isn't to build the most complicated, over-engineered system imaginable. It's to start simple, solve the actual problem, and then evolve from there.
So, really, the takeaway is simple. You don't need to be a master coder to get started. You just need a plan. And now you have the blueprint and you have the recipe. So the only real question left is, what are you going to build?